Hey, what's up YouTube? I just received this diesel fuel filter kit. Been reading a lot about fuel filters for my Dodge Cummins and how the stock one is lack of protection. So I ordered this one from dieselfuelfilterkits.com. I paid for this entirely. This was not some video that I made because I got a free filter kit and I wanted to give an artificial shout out for them. I paid $249 for this. I'm installing it on my Dodge 05 Dodge Cummins today. I have moderate, I guess you would say, mechanical ability. I have absolutely zero modifications to this truck. Everything is bone stock. I have not done anything to it. Let me show you what comes in the filter kit here. I have already opened it up. However, we have two pack quality base plates. And the kit looks great. We've got water separator, fuel filter, a tube, an assortment of hardware, an assortment of more hardware, a little mini tube cutter, which I thought was cool. I don't have to go out and buy one of those. Realize I need it when I'm halfway in. And the mounting bracket. Now, the mounting bracket I'm kind of impressed with, I'm going to be honest. It's like powder coated. It is a high quality steel. It's heavy. I have no doubt that it's going to last a long time. So, here's the instructions, step by step. Comes with the kit. Again, I've never done one of these before. I've never done anything like it before. So we're going to go step by step and put this together. Okay, the first thing we have to do is connect these two filter bases together. If you notice, one says in, one says out. It's very clear. We use this 10 to 10 connector, it's called. Remove the caps. There is a fixed side and a side that spins. Instructions say to tighten up only the end, the fixed end first. So it goes into the out. And I'm using a pair of pliers to tighten that up. It's larger than any wrench that I have. It has a nice O-ring on it, so it's good and tight. And now we insert it into the other side from the out to the in. Obviously, if you get confused, there are arrows. So the arrows are pointing this way. Pointing this way. That is the flow of the fuel, and that is very clearly depicted on the instructions. So I will tighten that up. Actually spin it on first, and then they say to tighten it after. And then the next step is firmly mount it to the bracket. So let me get the hardware for that. Okay, the next step is to mount the filter bases to the mounting plate. That's a simple step. Take the supplied nuts and bolts, lock washer, flat washer. Now the instructions don't call for it, but I am using some Loctite on here. I don't see a need for this to ever come off, so I don't want them vibrating out. The mounting bracket does have round holes and oblong holes, so it doesn't matter. The instructions are very clear that it just gets mounted like this. That's all. In, out, with the tongue, I guess you say, side facing to the left. So I've done the first four. Oops. Done the first four like that. I'm doing the next four. That's brainless. you don't need to see how to do that. If you can't do that, then you probably don't belong doing this. Too easy. Okay, I've started them all by hand. This is just a 9/16 socket. Tighten everything down. Good and tight. Between the lock washers and my Loctite, this is going nowhere. It doesn't matter how you tighten it down. Just tightening it. One final time around. And there you have it. Filter bases are attached to the mounting plate as described, in and out. Next thing we do is tighten up this adjustable nut here. Simply do that with a pair of pliers. Why? Because I don't have a wrench big enough, but you can see it doesn't take much. Pretty doggone easy. Okay, the next step is to install the 10 to 6 joiner fittings. They're in the package over here. It's plainly obvious. Again, their package is great. They have these little caps to keep them from getting dirt and all scalded up and stuff. Oh, you know what I just realized? It also says 10 and 6, just like these ones say 10. Imagine that. Good job, diesel fuel filter kit, making it even easier. Okay, so these go into the base. So I can leave that on for now. These have a nice thick O-ring washer on them, so they get locked down. It's gonna be a real nice tight fit, just like that. Wish I had a wrench this size, but I don't. I think it's like a 1 inch. I tried a 15/16 and it didn't fit, so. Okay, those are on there tight. And we will go to the next step. Okay, what we're going to do is remove the old seat bolt, put in the new one just like this with the washer on top. I've already done this one. And then install this underneath the truck. It's important that you get this. It says torque down to manufacturer specs. Good luck finding manufacturer specs for this, but realize it's important that you tighten it down good because you don't want your seat coming loose, right? So what is tight enough? I always hand tighten it and then hit it with the impact just for a second. That's tight enough. Now, we go underneath, we need a 4mm wrench. It honestly took me longer to find a 4mm wrench than it did actually do it. Here's the first seat one that I did. You can see it comes through. This is the second one. Here it comes through, it's just a little bit longer for the mounting bracket. And it this slips right over the top. I don't know that it matters which way it goes or not. Just position it so that you can screw that little set screw down with your 4mm and hold it in place. I need 2 hands to do this, so I'm gonna set you down and maybe you can see what I'm doing, but if not, if you can't do this, one little part, you probably don't belong doing this in the first place, because literally this is all it is. Tighten down the little set screw. It's tight. I'm just making sure it's tight. It couldn't be any easier than that. Good. All right, on to the next step. Okay, the next step is to install the mounting bracket onto the seat bolts that we just installed. I read the instructions, sounded pretty simple. Got under here, it was even simpler. So you just slide it. This is looking towards the front of the gas tank. We're looking towards the back of the truck. You slip it over this frame rail here onto the first bolt, seat bolt, here onto the second. Mine came with 3/4 inch nylon lock nuts, and so I'm tightening it down. That one is tight. This one I cannot get a socket on, so I'm gonna have to get a wrench and play with that one. Okay, I have a 3/4 inch wrench. Again, this is not difficult. I can only get like maybe 1/8 of a turn, maybe a 1/4 turn on each bite, so it's just gonna be slow going is all, but again, it's not anything you're gonna bust your knuckles over or cause bad words to come out of your mouth, as has been known to happen on occasion. I would suggest when you're working between under the truck and the seat bolts to either close your door each time, your rear door, or keep in mind that your door is open. I did not bump my head, but it would have been extremely easy to cause a trip to the ER standing up into an open door. Okay, we're good, we're tight, we're out. Okay, the next step was pretty easy also. We're just installing this J-tube by putting the little nut on the back here and screwing that down with a riser to keep it from collapsing down. This gets, according to the instructions, torqued to 22 foot-pounds. I can't do that because I don't have a torque wrench that will do this. It says don't over tighten it or you'll lose the flare on the nut. So that's probably about 22 foot-pounds. It's tight, it's not going anywhere. Next step is to spin on but do not tighten, it says, these fittings onto the J-tube and the other end of the filter bases. And then we are going to determine where to cut the fuel line. So I'm going to do that one like that. I'm going to do this one like this. Now I'll admit I freaked out a little bit because down here I'm going to see 1, 2, 3 metal lines, and I didn't know which one was which. But instructions again are clear, and I will read them verbatim. It says, okay, spin out and tighten both 90-degree push lock fittings with hoses on the end of the J tube and the filter base. Done. Just did that. Determine how much of the steel fuel line you'll need to remove by holding them up to the top bigger 3-inch steel fuel supply line running inside the frame rail. The top bigger 3/8 inch steel fuel line is this one. Okay guys, here's the next step. We have our 90s installed. They're loose. Okay, we don't want to tighten them down yet. This is a barb fitting. It has a compression that goes on the end. This one is going to go this way because that is fuel to the engine. So it is going to get cut somewhere. I know you can't see that probably very well. Somewhere in here. The steel line should be at the bottom of the threads so that we have enough real estate in there to get a good purchase on the compression fitting. Now, here's what I've been debating. Do I cut this hose shorter and use this frame mount so it's like that, or does it really matter? You know what? I don't know if it really matters. I've already got the barb on here, this fitting, just pushes on there. So I'm just gonna run it like this. The other thing I didn't want was this fuel line rubbing on this mount thing right here. So it's gonna go up here like this. If I have to zip tie it maybe to this or something, you know, I'll see when I get there. This back one, short bed model. This is fuel in, fuel line right here again, right? We have to make a 90. Now the instructions are clear. Adjust my camera here. Instructions are clear that this can't be kinked. If it's kinked, we'll have restricted fuel flow. So we might have to cut some of this tube off and run this 90 at a little bit more down, if you can see that. So again, I need to eyeball where do I want. I don't want too much of an angle because I'll kink, but at the same time I can go like that, maybe cut a little bit of this off right about here, and have the barb pushed into there, and that should be fine. That doesn't look like it's too much of a kink. Okay, I cut probably ½ inch or so off of this hose. I have the 90 loose. I have the compression fitting off, and I'm pretty happy with that bend right there. It's not kinked all that much. I mean, if you go like this, you can see how it really kinks. Like this, it's not as bad. I've drawn a line on the pipe, the fuel line, even with the bottom of the tube here, the threads. So that is going to be my fitting. The fuel line will come in right here, and the compression fitting will fit over the top of it. So now I'm going to cut this line. In order to do that, I'm going to get some slack here by taking it out of the clips. You can see the clips that hold it to the frame. Just slide out like that. Slide out like that. I have a little bit more play. Pipe cutter, real simple to use. You can see the blade right there. The blade goes on the line. And I'm gonna need 2 hands to do this. But anyways, gets on here. You tighten this screw down on the line and you just rotate it around. So I'm gonna do that and I'll get back. Okay, you can see, just working on the pipe here. Turn a couple revolutions, use some pliers, crank this down because you can't do it by hand after a few turns. And then just keep going. Loosen this one from the bracket, loosen this black one from the bracket, no, I'm sorry, leave it in the bracket. But you know, I loosened both of these ones back there and right here. It's just tedious, and you know, it's just kind of, you have to twist it and then move that one out of the way, and then twist some more and then move it out of the way again. So just keep working on it. Okay, I just cut through the pipe here. I had minimal spillage. I had just a rag close by. The next step is to deburr this side. What I'm going to do that is, I have this little deburr tool I use for reloading. I don't know that it's worth it to go out and buy it. It's like, I don't know, 20 or 30 bucks, I think. If you just have something that you can run around the inside of here to get any little metal shavings out, that would work just fine. The whole point is you don't want metal going in to the system, but it should get caught by the filters, right? That works for this end, but over here on this end, you're gonna have to make sure you deburr good. So I'm just gonna run this little cone thing around the middle here and call that deburred, and then I will put the fitting on. Okay, here it is installed. Fuel tank line, in, filter, connection, filter, J-tube, out to engine. Recommendation, when you cut this line, give it a little more slack. There's a bend here, there's a bend here. If you have more fuel line up here, it's going to be easier to get this nut on. It wasn't too difficult, but just, I mean, if I was to do it again, I would leave a little more line, our fuel tube on this side, and maybe cut this hose a little bit shorter, but I'm happy with the bend. There's no big kinks or anything like that. So I know the instructions said to leave this loose and hang it down into a bucket to prime or to bleed, purge the system. I tightened it already. I don't really want to untighten it and put it into a bucket, so I'm going to fill the filters with diesel and just turn the truck on and run the fuel pump to purge the lines. This isn't like the old diesels where you had to crack fitting to bleed the air out. It'll bleed itself out. So that's the next step. We're going to install the filters and then purge the lines and start the truck. Okay, here's what the system looks like installed. The manufacturer recommends the Baldwin closest to the frame, cat next to it. They do say be careful not to cross thread it. I didn't really find a problem with that. However, I can see how it would be maybe a little bit possible. You see the clearance between the tank and the filters is really close, and so if you don't get it, you know, pushed straight up and onto it, you, I guess, potentially could cross thread it if you were some kind of idiot or something. I don't know. It wasn't an issue. I just, you know, make sure, do the reverse twist a little bit and then twist it on. So everything is tight. I've double checked everything. All my fittings are tight. I am now going to purge the system by turning the key, letting the fuel pump run a little bit, and start her up. Okay, I pulled the truck out of the garage a little bit. Didn't start it up, I just coasted it forward so I didn't get the exhaust all in the garage. I've turned the key a couple times to purge the system. Let's start it up. Awesome. No leaks. That's it. I'm happy with it. It looks good. I think it'll work good. And it wasn't too bad. What time is it? 220. So 11, let's call it 3 hours for this. Now 30 to 45 minutes, yeah, possible. Think if you've maybe done it a couple times. Me, I'm the kind of guy who will measure twice, think about it, measure it again, think about it some more, measure, look at my tools, measure, worry about it, measure, and then actually get around to doing it. So that's probably what took me so long. The compression fittings gave me a couple little fits, not because of the instructions, but just because of user error. You know, like I said on that tube, I cut a little too close to the bend. Probably do that different next time. Other than that, though, I just, really cautious. I don't want any leaks or anything with this. So, great product. Really happy. No issues with install. If I can do it, anybody can do it. So, hope you like it.